Hi, this is Toby from LITH-TECH Mobility. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about something that we get asked an awful lot of the time over the phone, and that is what makes your brand different from other brands out there, and what's the difference between your chair over a Freedom chair or over an iGo, because to me they all look like electric folding wheelchairs. They're all similar pricing, and I can't really tell what the difference is. So we get that an awful lot of the time. We have customers literally who do their research for months. What ends up happening is they actually end up confusing themselves so much, going from sites to sites to sites, coming back to our site, going to Spring Chicken, going elsewhere, coming back, and they end up calling us and saying, "Oh, I've been researching this for so long now, and I've looked at so many different chairs. I've actually just ended up completely confusing myself. Can you possibly just tell me, what is it about your brand that makes you one of the best in the UK? What is it about your chairs that are different to other chairs on the market?" Usually they have a couple of other chairs that they want me to compare our chairs against, and that's obviously very easy then for us to say the differences between the chairs. A good analogy is brands like Ford and a brand like Audi or BMW. They're completely different qualities. They're completely different kind of different levels of performance, comfort, things like that, but they're both cars. It's exactly the same with wheelchair brands. They may all look like the same, they may all be able to fold, they may all be able to drive, but there's a massive difference between the quality of one brand over another brand. For example, I know comparing something like an iGo to a Smart Chair 1 is literally like chalk and cheese, you know. Things like iGos have been around. They're actually the first folding chair to come on the market about 6-7 years ago, and they basically go into all the local shops, and yeah, they do a job. You can go in a straight line with them. They fold, and they can be used on flat terrain, mainly indoors, parks, or anything where it's flat. But it pretty much stops there. Things have evolved, as everything should in technology. That's the whole point of technology. It's the whole point of evolution. You know, it's a natural progression of getting better and better and better. And even at LITH-TECH, you know, if there's something that can be improved that we can add to chairs, or on the next design of the upgrade of our chairs, we will always add the best components to stay at the head of the game. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit now about some of the questions we get asked. So one of the questions is like, what about your frame quality? They all look like they kind of fold the same way, they all have the same sort of shape. What makes your frames different from others? So most of our frames are aluminium made. We have our Smart Chair 1 and Smart Chair 1 XL, which is a titanium aluminium composite. This makes it a much stronger position, basically. These particular chairs can also take up to 180 kilograms, so that's 28 stone. So one of the main things compared to other brands is that we can keep our lightweight frame of Smart Chairs all around 26 kilos, but for that weight they are far stronger and can hold more weight than our competitors can. So number one would be just the quality of the frames, really. Also our LITH-TECH Compact, which is very small. It's actually the world's most compact folding electric wheelchair. That can take up 110 kilos, but that literally weighs 19 kilos without batteries. So they're incredibly strong, which means incredibly safe, and also means that bigger people or people that have more weight are more likely to be able to use our products over the next person's products. So we'll now talk about wheels and tyres. So wheels and tyres is something that's evolved hugely in electric folding wheelchairs. So back in the day, the whole game was to try and make it as light as possible. So it'd be small tyres, front and rear. The issue with smaller tyres is, although it may add less weight to a chair, it makes the chair far more dangerous. Means it can only really be used on flat surfaces, inside shopping centres, things like that. Whereas now it's all about giving people their freedom back. So especially with something like our Smart Chair ranges, we all use rubber tyres. We use big 12.5-inch rear tyres and 8 or 7.5 inch on the front. This means you can now do things like curbs, cobbles, go over grass, even fields. You know, it can be used inside, outside, so they're completely diverse, because people literally want to be able to take their chairs anywhere with them. They want to be able to play with their kids in parks, they want to be able to go on holiday, you know, up and down ridiculously high curbs, which, you know, places like Spain and Italy are full of, and they don't want to have anything get in their way of what the chair can be used for, or stop them being able to, or for them to stop being able to go to certain places just because they're wheelchair bound. So tyres are incredibly important. Most companies use PU tyres, which is like a plasticky, rubbery composite. They're very slippery. We use rubber because it's much grippier, much safer, and yeah, all of our tyres are completely puncture proof. Stay away from pneumatic. Whether you buy a chair from us or a competitor, do not buy a chair with pneumatic tyres. They will get punctures, they will leave you stranded, and they will leave you hating life. So get solid, puncture proof, good quality tyres. All chairs come with suspension, but to be honest, in the world of electric folding wheelchairs, and this is coming from a #1 brand, the whole thing about electric folding wheelchair suspension is kind of a bit of a sales pitch to say, oh, our wheelchair's got suspension. Where you actually get the comfort and the kind of softness is actually through the quality of tyres. So all of our tyres have kind of like a sort of a spongy inner layer, which basically takes out all the bumps and things like that when you're going over cobbles, curbs. So that is actually what gives you a more comfortable ride. The suspension, the way I mean, they're mini springs, so if you can imagine a spring that's like that big, how far are they really going to move? So although they play a part, it's all down to the quality of the tyres when it comes to comfort, the ride of comfort. So batteries, we use the best batteries. We've got 2 places we get our batteries from. Literally our Smart Chair 1 and 1XL, which have got both 6A batteries. These are actually the best 6AH batteries you can buy anywhere in the world right now. They have the highest output and can do the best range. They've also got a very clever little button on it where when you press it, it will tell you exactly how much charge is in each battery. Obviously all our batteries can be either charged on the chair or off the chair as well, for those of you that like to go on holiday or leave the chair in the car and charge your batteries up inside. Let's talk about motors now. So a lot of brands out there use really cheap, shitty motors, to be honest, which will break, they don't turn properly, crap at doing hills and slopes, and also a brush, most of them as well. So you want to be going primarily for brushless motors, good quality, reliable motors. So all of our motors come from, I'm not going to name the brand, but from one company, because they're the most reliable, best known motor company in the world, and they just, it's all about durability and reliability, to be honest, when it comes to motors, because the last thing you want is your motor packing up and leaving you stranded. I would also say that it's basically also the quality of the motor. Basically means the better the quality of the motor also means that where it can be better in electric mode, but more importantly, when you switch the toggles over, the little red toggles to the back of your motors over to push mode, it also means that it's going to be far easier to either push someone in freewheel mode or move the chair around the house, from the foot plate, for example, like towing it like a suitcase, or just pushing it from the legs. So rule of thumb is, the better the motor, the much easier it's also going to be to push in freewheel mode. Okay, we also used, in regards to joysticks and controllers, so we use them from the best manufacturer in the world as well. They've been going the longest, they're the most reliable, and we use these on 75% of our chairs, especially with the Smart Chair range anyway. Okay, we'll talk about handling now. So we touched on this a little bit before. There is a huge difference in the way wheelchairs handle on the market. I've pretty much tried every electric folding wheelchair that there is out there, and they differ so much in actual performance and safety. So one of the main problems is, and this will happen with all wheelchairs to an extent, because electric folding wheelchairs are steered from the back and they have independent front wheels. That basically means if you come across a gradient or a pavement that's too sharp, you will veer in that direction. So one thing that our chairs are amazing at compared to others is you will hold the road far kind better, especially for something like the X. If you've got a slope in the pavement, it barely even notices. It's a very good stature, well-built chair, huge, kind of rubber tyres, which we also talked about earlier, which adds for far better grip and will hold you in the position you want to go to. And this is great as well. If you're in tight spaces like London where there's lots of people around, the last thing you want to be doing is going along your wheelchair and rolling into people. I mean, that's why insurance is good as well, because that's also why you get sued for bumping into people. Anyone will sue anyone nowadays. It's just the way of the world, sadly. So a safer, more reliable, less chance of being sued chair is always a good thing. Being a UK based company, we stock all our own chairs. We actually have up to 150 chairs in stock. We're always at the other end of the phone to talk to you about the research process, the buying process, and then the aftercare process. All our chairs come with 1 year's warranty from the day you purchase the chair. If, God forbid, that anything does go wrong, and if you're in about an hour and a half's drive from us, we will literally fix it within 24 hours. We'll come to you. If you're, say, up in Manchester, Newcastle, where it's going to be kind of a 10 to 15 hour round trip, we simply have the chair collected from you, brought back to our offices. We would then fix the problem that day, which, to be honest, all problems literally take 7 to 10 minutes to fix. It's incredibly easy to operate on these chairs. And then we would literally send the chair back the next day. So at worst, it's a 4-day turnaround, which, although it sounds like a lot, it really isn't. Most big companies or even little companies won't even reply to your email if something's wrong within 4 days, let alone have you back up on the road. So we understand how paramount your mobility is and how much you guys really need your chairs. So I think it's incredibly important to get you back up and running as soon as possible. Shipping. So whereas a lot of companies, especially on eBay, you get this all the time and it does my head in, they don't state, how long it's going to be shipped in. They'll say, yeah, you can get your chair in, buy your chair now. And then what they don't tell you is that it's a UK company and you're buying a chair from China and you then have to wait another month for it to be delivered. Like I said earlier, we have stock of all our chairs. When you buy something before 12 o'clock, you'll receive your chair free of charge the very next day. No one else does this in the industry, and we pride ourselves on being a kind of a pioneer and just offering very good service in regards to delivery times. Another good thing about us would be that when you deal with LITH-TECH, you deal with us directly. You don't deal through third-party people. So anything you want to know from a question point when you've received your chair, if you're not still sure about something, and you've looked at our videos online, our how-to videos online, and you've looked at the user manual and you're still not sure, we can even then do stuff like either talk you through things over the phone or even send you videos or clear email descriptions of how to do things. So we'll always go out of our way to try and make your life as easy as possible. So hopefully I've touched on most aspects and how us as a brand and our quality of our products are really different from what else is out there on the market. Because like I said in that analogy earlier about the Ford and Audi, in the end of the day it's no different with wheelchairs. You pay for quality, you pay for reliability, you pay for a decent UK company behind these products, and there's not another company out there that can boast having the world's best chair in the market for the large individual, the world's smallest electric folding wheelchair, the most compact chair, and also the world's best chair in different multiple terrains, which is the Smart Chair X, which also has the highest ground clearance of any chair in the world. So it's not just a sales pitch, these are all facts. So buying from us means you're buying the best there is on the market, and that's how we would say we're different from our competitors. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.